If you start off doing your business or a division within whatever business that you have, and it's about money, you're always going to lose. You're always going to lose.
What's up, guys? Today we have special guest Dave Pang. Welcome to the show, bro.
There you go, bud. I don't want to hit the mic.
Dude, so, I mean, we've known each other for like a little while. We're both in entrepreneurs organization together in the same forum. So I kind of got to know you a little bit more. And you're a super cool guy. But
Thanks.
what I do know about you is that you're like a serial business owner and an entrepreneur for like over almost 30 years now, doing business in Hawaii.
Correct.
And you've done easily over $100 million in like gross in business just in Hawaii alone.
That would be safe to say, yeah.
Try
not to say.
I mean, so in Hawaii, how many different kind of businesses have you owned over the last? Like,
they all kind of evolve around the same thing, right? Manufacturing, distribution, and selling at retail, right? I've never really done anything online, or I've never kind of done any servicing things, right? So they've always been product oriented in manufacturing and developing products and things like that. So there's been quite a bit of them, right? So I mean, the ones that come to mind that your listeners like know is like Grenades Gum, right?
Okay.
Like Malama Eco Products, right?
We use your stuff, by the way, the plates and like one of our girls, she really likes your chopsticks. She's like the best chopsticks.
Yeah, that's the number one thing we get comments like your chopsticks. I run into people in the store sometimes like, oh, I just wash your chopstick because it's better. I'm like, no, don't do that. Buy some more, right? Kind of deal. So, but yeah, so we've done some things and we've created brands here.
Okay.
I own all the European wax centers here for a while.
Okay.
I started it and built it from scratch here. So there's been a few businesses, but that's the one outlier. Everything else kind of been, manufacturing, development, brand building type of businesses.
One of the things is like I talk to like a lot of different like aspiring entrepreneurs, and the people are like they're trying to start their first business or their second or third, but usually they're off failed businesses, right? And so somehow you've had a lot of success with all of your businesses, and I just like to see like what does it take to run a successful business like for like a long period of time in Hawaii specifically. I feel like Hawaii is like a different market than some of the other places.
Absolutely. Like I've done business on the mainland and internationally. Well, in Hawaii, I would say it's completely different, right? I would say, and I say this a lot when people ask me the question. I've been asked that several times. I don't care what you like doing. I don't care what your passion is, right? Mm-hmm. Spend all your time figuring out what you're good at, right? And hope there's a market for it, and then hope someone's going to pay you for it, right? Because if you're good at something, it's going to come naturally for you to be able to execute at that level.
I see.
If you're passionate about something.
So it doesn't matter if you like it or not. It's like as long as you're good at it.
So I say this, right? Like we're not anymore, but at one point we're the largest pet supplier of pet supplies in the state of Hawaii.
Wow.
Like the largest, right?
What company was that?
Ilio Products, right?
Okay.
And I don't have a dog. I don't have pets.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting. I feel like that's counterculture to a lot of things you see on social media where they're like, find your passion, pursue your passion, and you'll make money, right?
No. It's like, I've given speeches at schools and universities and at, like my kids' schools and stuff like that. And, when I say this, all the teachers' eyes just about to pop out of their head, right? So it's kind of funny. But then I explain why. Yeah. Right? And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And then the kids, when I talk to younger people and try to inspire them and kind of give them some sort of guidance, like it's easy to go figure out what you're good at, right? Yeah. Your passion today and your passion 10 years from now may not be the same, right? But if you're good at X, right, then go do that, and then your passion is your recharge. Yeah. Right.
Well, I mean, there's also a thing too. I feel like when you're good at something, over time you start to like it a little bit more. And then maybe that's not your highest passion, but that's what we have hobbies for and other things where we can like relax.
Right. I mean, you got yours. So. I mean, we talked about your hobbies. I got my hobbies that I like doing. Right. But for me, those hobbies are the stuff that recharges me to come back and fight the fight.
You know what's actually funny is like one of my hobbies back in the day was playing poker. Yeah. And for a little while I tried to play poker professionally. After I did that, I did not like poker anymore. It's like it's so weird how like when your profession, I mean your hobby becomes your profession, it's not fun.
Absolutely. So one of my hobbies is building things. Okay. So in high school I entered a contest for the state for building stuff and I got placed, right? And so I got a job offer from the Carpenters Union. Back then. Wow, okay. And I said, and then it was like, oh my God, you're set. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So I turned down the apprenticeship program. Oh, wow. Okay. Right. And they're like, and all my classmates were like, are you nuts? Like, well, because if I do this every day for my life, I'm not gonna like it. So like now, right, I do what I do, and then like on the weekends, and if I got time, I actually like build furniture in my house and things, cabinets,
as a
and
hobby
things.
for
As
fun.
a hobby that I do. And if I screw it up, I don't care, right?
There's no pressure to when you do that as a fun, right? So,
And then I spend a lot of time drawing it out and using my creative imagination on that side of it, and then try to execute on that, right? So that it's encompassing from beginning to end, right?
Yeah.
So and that challenges me mentally in another capacity, right? And
have you always been like an entrepreneur, or like how did you kind of get started in small business?
I worked for the Hyams company for a long time.
Okay.
And I grew it substantially from about what was it? It was doing about $750,000 a year when I became the sales manager for the state of Hawaii.
Okay.
And I took it to about $3.5 million in 4 years.
So like you've had like actual like a track record within like a regular company as a W-2 employee.
Correct.
And then like so you kind of seen the ins and outs of it, and you've like shined in that role.
Yeah.
So then you saw what it took to actually like start a small business of your own.
No, because when you're working for a company like that, right? I mean, everything's your support system is amazing, right?
Yeah,
everything's around you, right? You got finance on this side, you got marketing on that side. Like, hey, I need this artwork done. Boom, somebody does it for me. With 24 hours, I get the artwork done to give to one of my clients so they can execute on a marketing program that we have.
So you're focused on like your one role.
Yeah,
and it's very easy to like, and it's very easy for you to like mentally just like focus on this one thing without worrying about the accounting, like you said, the marketing, and then but as a small business owner, now you have to do like all of taxes, like the sales.
There was a curve, right? So again, I built a business and I looked at my paycheck and didn't go up, 5x, right? So I'm like, wait, something's missing here. Right.
So what was the first business you started after like?
So that was, since I was in the pet industry, so I basically went to all the pet stores in Hawaii and said, hey, I'm going to start my own company. Okay. Right. And I'm not asking you have to buy things from me, but I'm going to show you. And if you're interested, and the good thing was what I learned when I was working with Hyams, those years, for 4 years as the sales rep here, for every pet store in Hawaii, I put together a marketing plan for them. To execute that had nothing to do with my products. It had to do with
just to help that store itself.
That store's business. So everyone had a different marketing plan in their. Some were related to their neighborhood, and some had multiple stores back then, where we could do multiple marketing in areas that would benefit both stores. Right.
This is as a W-2 employee. So like you're working for IAMS and then you're selling the IAMS products as like a distributor. Yep. And then to the stores that you're servicing, you're actually trying to make them better by helping improve their marketing.
Correct.
How did you see like the things from that point of view or that perspective?
So one of the things is, and I'm very, again, take this with the grain of salt. The stores really, after a while of being their rep, they became to trust me quite a bit. So when I was asking them for information, like, hey, I want to put this marketing plan together for you, but I can't do it without these information. I see. So a lot of stores, like, at first you're like, dude, are you going to share with anybody else? Like, no, I'm going to write one just for you. It's going to be your plan. It's going to be his plan. It's going to be her plan. So doing that, once I got the information, I kind of understood, like, okay, these are the areas that you're really strong in, and these are the areas you're weak in, right? And just like any other business evaluation, right? You got, once you start kind of looking at what's in front of you, and you kind of done it once or twice. It becomes you kind of pick it up. There's definitely patterns that come up, right? So I started putting each one. And these guys are strong in fish. These guys are weak in dog, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, hey, let's emphasize this, and let's because you're good at this, and let's put some extra dollars into this that you're not good to help you within your store so that you can be good, so that when people are coming in for this, they're not start noticing all these other things as well.
It's really, really interesting because you're coming in as like basically as a client or like a vendor, right?
Yeah.
But then
one item.
But then like you're able to see like a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And then so you can see like going to the store, like here, there's an obvious like something's missing here. I can see the gaps of your marketing of your store. You're going to add in a ton of value to them, but you're really acting like as like their owner, like what the owner should do, right?
Correct.
Like seeing the marketing, seeing the sales, seeing their pipeline. You're solving their problem for them, making them more profitable. But at the same time, you're becoming better yourself because you're solving their problem, which eventually you'll use that same skills to solve your own business problems.
Correct. And it was great because I was using it with IAMS money.
Yeah.
Somebody else was paying my education on
and it's
that,
also
right?
like if you made a mistake, it's like it's not the end
of the world.
As an owner, like we have a lot of responsibilities where our decisions cost us dollars, like directly,
and our employees, right? If we make
the
way I always look at it, right, is, and I've always looked at business this way, right? My business is not mine. It belongs to my employees and my employees' wife or husband and their kids, right? I'm responsible for them. right? If I don't do my job correctly, it affects them, and I owe them a responsibility to make sure that that's always in the back of my mind. And when I was doing that for the pet stores here, I kind of looked at it the same way, right? I was like, look, I know if I grow the pie, my piece of the pie will automatically grow. So instead of just focus on my stuff, like, okay, how do I grow your pie? Right. And then in the process of doing that, they became to trust me. So my piece of their pie, even though their pie grew, my piece also got bigger.
It's kind of like this unselfish, selfish kind of strategy, right? Where like it seems like, I mean, it is unselfish because you're helping the other person.
Exactly.
But there's an indirect like benefit that we're also getting and I feel like that's just business in general. You're looking for like the most win-win-win situation.
Exactly, right. And I always told people, like, you aren't my customer, right? Even to say, I don't use that, oh, that's my client. It's a partnership, right? We work together, right? Like, if you're successful, I'm successful. And, to this day, right, I still literally walk in the stores and walk in and service the stores and talk to the managers because I feel like that helps me be in contact with what I need to be and just hands-on, right? So that I can see and make better decisions versus just sitting in my office and reading reports all day. I think that's that's just never been me, right? I mean, I'm more of a hands-on kind of guy. I think everybody knows that, right? Who knows me?
I mean, just to on that point, I really like how you said there's a partnership because, like, even for myself, just thinking about this right now, is like, let's say we hire a vendor, like a realtor. We consider her like a vendor, right? Or her. But then the reality is, it's really a partnership. Whether it's our contractors. These are all real, like they're actually partnerships. I like the way that you kind of frame that.
And as long as both parties go in understanding that, it's mutual benefit, but it's not mutual destruction because there is a level of, hey, this doesn't work out. You can go your way, I can go my way. But if this does work out, we both are going to benefit. So I think if everybody starts.
What do you mean by that? Mutual, say that again, mutual benefit, but not mutual destruction. Can you explain that?
Well, if you're in business, right? Okay. You have a vendor, let's say like mine, right? Like, if I decide not to sell Safeway tomorrow, right? Safeway is not going to go out of business and I'm not going to go out of business. So it's not mutually destruction, but if we're working together, we can benefit each other. So it's mutually
really
benefit,
right?
That's
really interesting.
So if you hire a vendor, right? Let's say a realtor, right? You don't use that realtor tomorrow. He or she's going to go on her business. You are going to go on your business, right? So if you start looking at it in the sense that there's really only upside and there's really no downside, why not put the energy in and get the upside? Because if you put your energy in and the upside doesn't work, you go on.
That's a really interesting take. I mean, I've never thought about business like that, but that's a really insightful way to look at things.
Right. Because I mean, if your business is structured right, no one entity should destroy you.
I mean, there are certain businesses where there's like they have like one client that they rely on everything, but as long as you're not set up like that,
exactly right. And then if you're set up like that, you should spend all your time making sure that person is not your only client, and then do everything you can to get more, right? And so then at that point, right, you're spending all your time trying to diversify and deleverage from that one client, right? But if your business is run properly, you should never be in that situation where mutual benefit equals mutual destruction, on the same linear, right? The right or left, right? But you shouldn't be that way.
But at the same time, I like how you said like there's a ton of upside with very little downside, right? And we're looking for they call them like asymmetrical bets where there's like lower risk but high reward. And so like if you look at like say like stock market, it's like high risk, high reward, or low risk, low reward.
Correct.
But business done right, even like real estate done correctly, it's high reward with low risk.
Correct. Right. And it's, how do I say this? Like, I'm older than you.
we're pretty close in age, I think. Like, I'm older than you think, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think in our group, I'm like the oldest one, I think, in our form, right? So
I mean, you had like the grandpa shit on the one.
The 55, right? Anyway, so there's a lot of people who don't see that. And so I've always been in the mindset, if you start off doing your business or doing a business or a division within whatever business that you have, and it's about money, you're always going to lose. You're always going to lose.
What? Why is that?
Because then it's easy to get clouded. It's easy to jump from, thing to thing, trying to grab that next, that next envelope, right? That we think the money is going to be. Versus even if you don't have a long-term plan, but you have an idea, right? As long as you maintain that idea and you've thought through that idea properly, where the end goal of the idea is going to make you successful, the money will come. And I know this sounds crazy, and a whole bunch of people in my business, my accountants and all those guys, they've always said, like, Dave, you're out of your freaking mind, dude. This doesn't work. And now my accountant's been with me for over 10 years. She's like, dude, I fucking.
Whatever you say is
bro,
like, with the track record.
I've seen it. They say, dude, I start off like telling that, there's the burden on this, and this is gonna have this much of a burn rate if we do this. I'm like, yeah, but we're gonna do this, and this is where we're gonna end up, and it's gonna work out. He's like, I don't know, man. The burn rate from here to there is gonna be X amount, right?
Yeah.
And then we always get there.
The thing is, I think there's a lot of times when, like, as an accountant, you're looking at just like the pure numbers, right? So this is my marketing cost. Here's my profit. This doesn't make sense. But there's the intangible results, and then there's like the benefits of whether it's the investment of a relationship or the investment of a future, like you're testing on like something to see what works. And there'll be like 5 duds and then one like rocket ship, right?
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is I think and that's why I said I don't like just sitting behind my desk and looking at numbers, right? Because when I'm in the stores, when I'm talking to people and, in town, I actually talk to people who pick up my product in the stores and like, hey, so why do you buy ours? Like I ask them all the time. In getting that knowledge, right, you start putting patterns together, you start seeing things so that when you're thinking about your next project or your next thing down the path, right, you can see, that's the result we're going to get from these people who already are customers. And then that's going to be exponential, where accountants are looking at everything as incrementally. Right? Oh, that's another $100 you're going to spend on this, right? But it's only going to bring an extra $40. But it's like, hey, if we do this, the guys who are buying this or who are not buying this might buy some of our other things. And that's a hard accounting problem to come up with, right? But you get a sense of that if you're actually engaging with your customers and your people at your service level.
There's you're solving like these very difficult math problems in your head with like these variable results. And when I think the same thing with poker is like implied odds, they call it, where it's like you're making this bet and there's no guarantee it's gonna win. But then if implied that if you do make the bet, the return could be this big. As an accountant, you can't see those numbers, but as a business guy, is it like
you almost have to
sense or like how do you see that though? I think that's such an important skill to have as a business owner.
Don't hide in the tunnel, don't hide in a vacuum, right? If you're in my line, I'm in the product business in Hawaii, right? I sell pet supplies and I sell eco-friendly, right?
Okay.
Right. I'm always talking to people about that on both sides, front end and back end. The front end would be the manufacturers, any kind of technology that's coming out the new way, right?
So I want to know. You're getting like more efficiency or better like products or
like better technology, more efficiency, right? I mean, at this point, the efficiency is pretty well maxed out, right? Because these products have been in the marketplace for over 10 years, and everything's kind of been squeezed out of it already, right? But knowing what's coming down the pipe and trying to figure out, okay, does that affect me? Does that not affect me? How do I position myself against this? Or now it's not going to really affect us, so we don't have to worry about it. So that's the downstream side, right? I mean, the guys who are feeding me their products. The upstream side will be our customers and our retailers, right? And there's 2 sets, right? There's obviously the retailer, right? So like Safeway, Walmart, whatever's Foodland. And then there's the customers that buy from them, right? So even though I spend quite a bit of time with my retailers,
you're talking like the
stores,
Walmart, or
so I spend quite a bit of time with those guys, but I use them to get to my ultimate customer, which is the end consumer who actually pulls the thing off the shelf, right? So for me, they're like a conduit. The stores are a conduit that allows me to get in contact with them. So when people go in the store, I mean, I'm not the only product in these stores. There's a whole bunch of other. So why do people buy mine? Right. So by having it in the stores and having access to talk to these people on a regular basis, I can get a better vision of why they're buying my stuff, what would make them buy more, and what would prevent them. What would I do stupidly that might hurt my business? So by having that kind of contact and not be sitting in your high tower in your office all the time, right? I mean, I allocate 2 days a week to be in the stores.
Really?
That's how much?
That much time? That's as a business owner, like, because everything you read on like online social media is like
work in your business,
work on it, not in it, but like.
But then, so my question to that is always like, what does that mean? It's a great saying. What does it mean?
What does it
how do you execute on working on your business and not in your business? And my thing is, you should be working on and in your business, right?
Both at the same time,
right? I mean, how do you know what your customers are wanting if you're sitting in your office all day just looking at numbers, right? Yeah, that's important too, right? So I spend 3 days in the office and 2 days on the floor, and I literally fly up every other week to the Big Island to go.
Because you have some like locations on the Big Island as well too.
Same in Kauai, right? I go to Kauai, and my partner Mike does Maui, right? And we go out on purpose to make sure that we're.
Do you feel like it's more important to talk to like, let's say the store, the retailers, or to the end customers, or which is like the more?
This might get me in trouble, right? But at the end of the day, the customer wins.
Yeah.
If he buys my product, the store's got to reorder it.
Yeah.
The store can buy all my product, and if it doesn't sell, they're never going to reorder.
That's true.
So I would say I focus 70% of my message and my things on the end consumer.
Like your energy, all your energy is okay. Like thinking about like the end consumer, and then maybe 30% on the relationships, so as far as like the stores and those different things.
Because the reality is if I'm talking to a store manager, I maybe have 5 minutes of his time in a day when I see him. He's not gonna. He's got a million things he's got to do, right? So he's not gonna give me like, hey, Dave, let's sit down for 2 hours and go over this thing, right? So that's not gonna happen. Even if I talk to the buyer's gonna give me 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I just got to figure out how to maximize that time with them. But the rest of the time, it's kind of like trying to figure out what the customers want. I talk to them all the time. We do events, right? We sponsor. I mean, I'm Native Hawaiian.
Just so like for like goodwill in the community and things. So like your name, branding, and brand recognition.
So we did it for years. We'd give things away to people and things like that, where like IHS and everything, and we basically never like asked. We said, don't put us in your newsletter. Like we just want to do it because it was the right thing to do, right? And then about a year ago, I think we realized like, hey, people who know, people who don't know. Yeah. Right. And maybe we should like spend a little more time letting people know that, hey, we've done a lot
like
for the
brand
community.
Awareness. Yeah.
Right. And we never, again, we've been doing this for like over 10 years, right? Helping the community and not saying anything. So only recently have we been like, hey, and again, the people we give products to and we do make donations to, they're always like, hey, we want to put you in a newsletter. We're like, no thanks. So when we finally said, they're like, really? What? Oh, and then they're like, really? You let us put us on?
Well, this is one of the things where I feel like it's win-win, right? Because like you're giving like a service to somebody, and they don't have really any way to thank you. All their thank you is like thank you, like it's a verbal thank you, right? But then they have a legitimate.
But we never did it for that,
but
right?
I'm just saying like there's like as like a nonprofit, right? So I'm like on a board for like some nonprofit, right? Like and then so as a nonprofit, people generously give us donations, right? Yeah. I want to like. What can I do for you, right? So I'm trying to think, how can I give you something back because I feel indebted to this person. The best I can do is give them like a spot on a newsletter, which costs me nothing, by the way, right? There's like, but then maybe to help them a tiny bit. It's not like going to move the needle very much, but like that, the little bit way for our nonprofit to give thanks, we actually like we want to do that, like so it's actually like you're kind of depriving them of the ability to.
So we've told them like to the point where like I've told a few charities, if you put me in your newsletter, dude, I'll never make another donation ever again, and like they're like, what the hell?
Why? I'm just why is that, you think?
Because I mean.
Because Hawaii is like you want to be humble, you want to stay under the radar and things, but I feel like
it's like volunteering, right? Like I make my kids volunteer, right? I don't want them to think that it's a quid pro quo. I don't want them to think because you're doing this, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, actually that's a good point.
This is the right thing to do. So, we have a saying in our house, right? Can, no can, right? This is what I grew up with. I kind of pass it down to my kids. Okay. If you can do something, just do it. Like, don't worry about anything else. Just do it. If you can't do it, tell them you can't do it. And you get to the point where people respect when you say you can and you do it. And when you say you can't, they're like, oh, yeah, he really can't do it. Because in the past, when they could, they've always done it. And I kind of always want to be that person, right? So we never wanted to be in a situation where, oh, I'm going to do this if you give me this.
That's true, actually. Now
so I just want to do it. And, so in the beginning, when I made my kids volunteer to feed the homeless, they were like scared, right? And like, they're like, oh my God, these are homeless people. I'm like, but now when we go do it, and what changed it was these people who have literally nothing. At the end of us serving them, they come up to us and like, thank you for taking your time. We know you guys are busy. Thank you. And I'm like, yeah, doesn't that feel good? Like, how much is that really worth? Like, you can't put a price on that, right? And I always felt like, if you put a thank you or a newsletter or you start doing it for the wrong reason, then you take away from that.
That's a good point, actually.
So I always wanted to have that feeling. Like I would come off doing a donation. I'll come off doing a volunteering thing. And I would just feel great. I was on high of the world. It's like, dude, no amount of money.
It's not tainted, right? Like
exactly.
The gift is not tainted. But once you can receive something in return, it's no longer a gift. It's almost like a transaction.
Correct.
I hear you saying.
Yeah. So I've always wanted, and then only recently when like a lot of my friends and other business like you're an idiot, you're a dumbass, right? And then the people we're helping, they're like, dude, let us do something for you, please, like and finally, so this year I said, oh yeah, okay, you guys can do something. And I think, Rhonda just about fell over. Like, really? You let me let us put you on. And all they wanted to do, and I said no to this for years, is just put us as a sponsor on their banner. And I was like, no, you don't have to. Like, I don't want to.
But I mean, at the same time, so like I understand where you're coming from, where you don't want to taint kind of the gift.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like Hawaii is such a relational business community where so much business is like out of goodwill. And so like, let's say like we're friends together. I want to buy your products. Even like, I think they're great products. They're priced well. Like everything is great about them. Yeah. So I would buy them even if I didn't know you. Yeah. But the fact that I do know you, I want to support you more than if I didn't know you. And so it's just like that, the whole relational aspect of just business in general, in Hawaii especially.
Yeah. And my hope has always been that I don't need to be on someone's banner or newsletter, but I know chances are they're going to talk about me. Right. And that recommendation, like everybody knows, a recommendation from a trusted person is worth 10 times anything else. So my hope is like, okay, I don't need any of this stuff, but hey, you know what? If you're talking to a friend, and they always do, like, they're like, oh, I tell all my friends before I even I don't even need to ask for that. Right. And they're always volunteering. Like, oh, I tell all of my friends, my family members.
Why do you think that is? Like, what is it about it why would they do that?
Well, if I told you, hey, Dan, go get this, right? Because you trust me. And, I think everybody knows that, I'm pretty health conscious. So if I'm telling you, hey, Dan, get this is going to be good for your back. Or, he's come to me. Chances are you're going to believe me because you're like, oh, this is what Dave does. And he's, he's kind of what he's into, right? So I think just as a Hawaii, where, when you get to point where you're around people you trust and they recommend something, it's not easy, but it's like, oh, it just takes the edges away, right? It just takes the edges away where like now you're at the core, like, oh, and then you can make it
like over the hump kind of thing.
Correct,
right? And then at the same time, it's assuming that the product actually is good, right? Because if you're like, you're recommending something and like it sucks, like, dude, you screwed me. But then as long as it's good, you're like, oh, I appreciate it, and then you tell your friends about it.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
Right? So
it's word of mouth, right? And like I said, I've been very blessed. I always say this: I'm the luckiest SOB alive, man. And I didn't grow up with much, and we've kind of built what we have, and we just.
That's one thing I really like respect about you is you're very self-made. So like you didn't like. You're not like daddy playing with daddy's money or anything.
It's like housing.
It's basically like you started from like very humble beginnings to a very, very successful business career and done it many times over. And so that, to me, I think like a lot of people can get lucky one time, right? It's like, okay, like I have one business, it kills, and then like I'm done, right? But then the fact that you've done multiple businesses and they've all been successful, it means
not all, but
but like the majority of them, right? Or you exited and things. It's not just a business. Obviously, there is like the engine behind it is like a big difference,
Yeah, and I say this, and one of the reasons I give back, right? And I've given speeches at schools and universities and stuff. Is like, I didn't do this on my own, dude. I had a lot of mentors growing up, right? I just, even recently, and I'll still call up a few of my mentors and like, hey, I got an issue. Like when this whole tariff thing went down, right? I called a few guys who were
because that really affects your guys' business,
God,
right?
You have no idea. Like, and tell this. We have contracts with these stores, right? Okay. That we can't just raise our price tomorrow.
Yeah.
We got to get like 90, 120 days, 180 days. Well, the tariff all took place within a few weeks.
Yeah.
And I couldn't raise my price.
Yeah.
So I literally was just taking the shorts until the prices. And then he kept moving it around. And I was like, okay, is it this price or that price or this price?
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, right, the customer dictates the price. If I'm too high, they're not going to buy my product. How much, the higher the price point away from the mean, right? The delta is going to be way off, right? Too low, you're leaving money on the table, right? So I always say, the end consumer dictates the price, right? Because they're the ones that are using their money to buy what. So you have to be within that price range. So when these tariffs hit, I can't just like going like, hey, raise the price. Oh, let me drop the price next week, raise the price the following week. Because that's what was happening, right? Like every week.
Well, the tariffs were doing that, right? Yeah.
Right, the tariffs was just going everywhere for like 3 months straight. They were changing every other week. And we're like, okay, well, so what is the price? And then, like Walmart's like, hey, what's the price? I'm like, no idea. right?
I feel like as a business owner, you're constantly solving new problems, and there's problems that.
But that one was self-inflicted. That one wasn't like that was man-made, right?
So, I mean, pretty much all problems are man-made. Like there's like whether I'm just.
I remember you say that one was one man-made.
Right. I mean, I can tell you a lot of problems we had with our one man-made. I mean, like, but I'm just saying, like in business in general, right? They're just. Problems almost every day, and like you're constantly solving these. Some of them are bigger ones, some of them are smaller ones, but like you're building this muscle of just engaging and solving problems, and then like you're just getting good at solving problems as a business owner.
And again, just being older, you just I don't tell people. I tell people I'm not any smarter. I'm just older, and I've just done more things. And so
you're wiser, right? Like you have
the age comes some wisdom, right? Some experience and wisdom comes
because
together.
you have like this bigger pool of like a body of work to kind of pull from and
experiences, and then different areas too, not just Hawaii, right? So I lived in Asia for a while. I've done business in Asia for a long time, right? Both selling and buying.
What parts of Asia?
So Taiwan, obviously, India, Vietnam, Thailand, Japan, Korea.
Wow. So all
China,
these places.
Yeah, China. So we've done quite a bit of places in Asia. And in the mainland too, right? So we've done things with Walmart mainland, right? We only sold them on a different thing on the mainland. So when you get that experiences and the screw ups you make and the mistakes you make.
The best lessons are always from mistakes.
Exactly, right? It's like you learn nothing from a success, but the amount you learn from a mistake is endless, it's right? So so whenever I made a mistake, it was like, okay, you dissect it, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay, why did it happen? Yeah. But I tell my kids, when you make a mistake, no one's perfect. We're all gonna make mistakes. But when you make a mistake, if you sit there and you tell yourself it was somebody's fault, right? You're not gonna learn to listen. Because it's always going to be like, well, if that guy didn't do this, or that girl didn't do this, or this person didn't do that, and then so your brain doesn't exercise that muscle of internal fortitude as well as reflection to look at yourself and say, oh, if I did this, maybe that didn't matter what the other person did.
So you never get better when you do that, right?
So you never get better blaming anyone else, but you can definitely get a lot better looking introspectively of what was your part of that, regardless if somebody else did it or not, right? It's like, what was my part in this, and how can I even like blunt that other person from doing this?
There's like the Jocko Willink talks about extreme ownership,
yes,
right? It's like the
Jocko, right?
It's not maybe not your fault, but still your responsibility, right?
Yes.
And I think it's such a powerful mindset or frame of mind to think of, like, regardless of who caused it or whatever, it's like, what's my responsibility? What am I learning from this? How can I like make it better?
One of my favorite phrases is "What's next?" Right? It's like the milk's in the ground, bro. We ain't picking it up, right? So what's next? Go get the mop, clean it up, right? Make sure the lid on the milk can is screwed tight the next time. So you can see what the next lid. Versus if you sit there and like, well, he's the one who hit my hand and I spilled the milk on the ground, and he didn't the last time. He didn't close the lid good. You can see how the learning mechanism is so different, right? By saying like, what's next? Clean it up. Make sure that the lid is tight, and all those other mechanisms that can go into place internally versus blaming someone else.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a really good statement. I'm gonna steal that later and share it with some people. Like so
I've lived that way pretty much my whole life. Like, what's next? Like, believe me, I was a screw up growing up. So like I had to adapt something that would kind of keep me moving forward. Right. If not, you kind of get bogged down too easily. And I think that's what happens a lot with people. Right. They focus on what happened and not how to resolve it.
Yeah. Like where you put your energy and focus, right? It's like, like you're so much in the past, like you're upset, bitter, things like dwelling on this thing when no action towards let's make it better or move on to the next issue.
And you can't change it. You literally can't change it, right? And you're spending so much energy on some things, it's futile, right?
I mean, even to this day, like there's some things where it's like you were wronged for whatever reason, and there's like a financial cost or whatever, and then so like should I chase this or should I just move on to the next and just go to the next thing? And so it's just always that constant. Sometimes you do have to go and chase this and figure this out, but majority of the time you want to put your energy moving forward as opposed to like kind of putting themselves back.
And I'm a firm believer in that, and I tell people all the time, right? It's like, dude, don't worry about what you can't fix. Just worry about what you can change, right? I mean, it's two different things, right? People think it's the same. It's not, right? So You can change you, and it's the only thing you can change.
Yeah.
You cannot I can't change you. You can't change me.
Yeah.
It's just a table. As much as I want, it's not going to change it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So focus on what you can change with who you are, right? You can't fix other things. So just,
it's also about like you have a sense of like control or power. Like if you blame somebody else, you lose all like your power, right? Like
Correct.
you're helpless at that point.
Yeah.
But if you say like what's my part, my responsibility, now you have control of your life and you can actually make adjustments and like fix and like.
And it's for me, even more important than that is that when you start thinking that way, you see it coming. You start seeing the next time something similar happens. You start marking the processes and the events that led up to the thing that just the bad thing that just happened in this case. You can start seeing those things happening, right? It has a tendency to repeat itself, right? The process.
Yeah.
So when you start looking internally and starting to dissect all of that, the next time it happens, you start seeing it happens, and you can make a quicker response and blunt it so that it doesn't get to the same point, and you can actually have a better outcome. And that's happened to me several times.
And this is because like as you're improving, you kind of like your internal GPS, or like you're figuring things out from like the mistake, and then like so now the next time it comes about you're better, or you can see it quicker or sooner.
You can start seeing the patterns, so it doesn't have to come to its total fruition. You can cut it off here where and then redirect it, and it never affects you the way the previous one. Yeah, exactly, right. So that institutional knowledge, right? But you don't get that knowledge if you sit there blaming other people.
You know, like in Hawaii, like when I first started in business, I thought like you do one business and then you just in the time you do the same thing over and over with no changes, and that's what business was, right? Yeah. I found that like business is constantly evolving, and even like the type of businesses and things, I feel like there are certain times when this business in general was like good, and then like it's a fad, it dies out, or the economy changes, like the world changes, and then it's actually the business itself is no longer valid. You have to pivot to like something else new. Have you ever like experienced things like this?
So I mean, the story I usually tell people, like how we, especially our employees and people, is like we got to be on top of it. Like we have to understand what's coming down the pipe and what's trending. And the best example I give is like Sears was the largest store in the world at one point.
Really?
In the 70s, right?
I mean, I know Sears is big in Hawaii. I never know it's not the largest in the world.
They're the largest. They were the largest retailer in the world, right?
Wow, okay.
In the 70s, right? 70s and 80s, right?
Okay.
And they're not even here. It's just 30 years later, right? So, I mean, and if you can't see that, how much of a dynamic shift, then you're going to go the way of Sears and Kmart. I mean, it's just that simple, right? So you always have to be, and like people may love Walmart or hate Walmart, whatever it may be, but the one thing I give them credit for, they're always looking for what's next. And they've evolved and, come back. I mean, and the other things, like, look, growing up, computers, right? They're in front of you, right? Intel was the biggest computer chip company. Now they just got bailout from the U.S. government. Right. So I mean, if you're not, I always say, if you're not moving forward, you're getting past, right? Because there's no such thing as staying still.
I mean, same thing too is like, even if you're just as good as you were yesterday, you always have competition and competitors. They're kind of like trying to catch you up, or they'll eventually pass you. So you can never just stay stagnant. You have to improve just to stay at the same level that you are right now.
And that happened to us, right? I mean, with Malama Eco, we launched eco products in the state of Hawaii in 2009, right? So we're the first company that did it. Right. When nobody was talking eco, we kind of did it like in a sneaky way. Right. We kind of did it with you can it's only a few cents more per packet, and you can do something for the land. Right. So people are like, and then or then with the message we started when we launched Malama was like, a few cents more, and you're helping a local company, or you're buying from a local company. Right. But in return, what is actually happening was you're actually buying non-plastic stuff. You're actually doing something good for the Aina. Right. And then as people became more aware of what was eco, right, then our message changed as well. Like, okay, these are the definition of eco, and this is what's the difference between compostable and biodegradable, sustainable, all those kind of things. We started educating people on that. But when we started, it was more like, hey, help the local company for a few cents more, right?
So you're pivoting into like where you are in the market, where you are as a company, where the world is, what they're looking for.
What the market can accept. Because if think about it, in 2009 when we launched Malama Eco, if I said, hey, this is the eco-friendly product, and this is
nobody even knows what the word eco
like, what?
is, right?
What? And it's very hard for people to admit, like, hey, I don't know, educate me. They're just like, nah, it's too much work. I don't want to know. Just shut down.
It's also a cultural shift too, because I feel like over the last 20 years, we shift maybe like right, left, right, or just in general, like just the different ways that culture values is like changed over the last like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, but I think in Hawaii, right, protecting the land's always been important.
But there's periods where like it's more important than others. Like, you know, like it's whether it's highlighted or it's not highlighted. Like,
I can see that, and I think it depends who's what companies are focusing here, right? So I mean, I think right now we're at the stage where I think people are realizing with you know, climate change and global warming and things like that, hey, you know, it's affecting us. You know, people are seeing people who have beach houses are seeing their walls, you know, their houses erode away. They're realizing like, hey, the tides are rising, right? So I think people are becoming much more conscious of that, of those aspects of what's happening. And in that, like, okay, everybody can do a little bit, right? And I said this years ago, right? It's like, not everybody can afford to put a solar system on their house. Not everybody can afford an electric car. But you can buy a $2 plate that's not going to hurt the planet. Right? You can buy a $3 fork that's not going to hurt the planet. And in turn, that's, you know, it's not, you're not burning any more oil.
You're helping a little,
exactly,
right?
Right. And if 100 million people all do that, then you can see that's better than putting up solar panels. Right. So there is you know, a level of economy of scale that I think if we can, and that was our vision when we, you know, launched Malamo, right? It's like, hey, if everybody does a little bit, right, then the net benefit for everybody is huge, right? So that was kind of what we were hoping for, and it you know, it took.
It's been pretty successul over the last how many years? Is there any big challenges?
So you know, we got lazy. I'm not gonna lie. So you know, Mike and I, we kind of got lazy.
When you say you got lazy, what do you mean by that?
Like, we weren't going in the stores. We were just in our office.
So you're just kind of cruising, like it was like everything's running well, you're making money, like,
and the competition came in, and they came in, and they were willing to do what we weren't willing to do, right?
They're hungrier. Like,
they were hungrier, right? Everything else, and for a while there, they were kind of kicking our ass. I mean, there's no two ways to say it, right? And then Mike and I had to, you know, and again, not what other people did, right? We looked at each other and was like, hey, dude, what do we want, dude? We haven't been doing this. We haven't been doing that. We've been neglecting this. We've been neglecting that, right? We haven't been focused on it. Like, I wasn't visiting the factories as much as I was, you know, to make sure.
Even like the where they're building the products.
Yeah, exactly, right? We weren't keeping on track. So we were just on autopilot for more or less, right? Like, hey, you know what? Reorder, okay, reorder, send it out, right? And then we made a decision like, nah, we still want to work this, right? Mike's daughter didn't graduate at the time. My kids were still in school, right? So we're like, okay, you know what? We're gonna buckle down. And this is about just like right about COVID time as well. Okay. And then we said, look, we're either in or we're out. Right? We're gonna sell a company and just get the hell out, or we're gonna go back in and we're gonna just like compete. So we said, no, we're gonna compete. So I'm glad to say that, you know, we started competing and our sales.
What does like competing practically look like, you know, like in business?
In Hawaii, in the retail space, is basically getting in the stores, talking to the managers, getting them to trust you and believe in you, right? Talking to the buyers to say, hey, Rob, we're engaged again, right? Like going and putting together a marketing plan that, you know, is going to, you know, engage the end consumer, right? To touch on their heartstrings and, you know, everything else that we can do. So, I mean, like our marketing program now is basically like, hey, we were here. We've been here. Everybody else just came, right? They're looking at a financial opportunity. We did this and no one's talking about it. And we really believe in what we're doing. We give back. Nobody else does.
It's like, I mean, it's really interesting how you're solving this problem because you're focusing on your strengths. Like everybody has different strengths, right? So then you up and coming guys are like, oh, these guys are old, like they're whatever this. They're like, we're new guys, right? Your guys are like, hey, we've been here. And so like, everybody has a message. Yeah. But then the key is figuring out what is your message and how can you have a competitive advantage over like either like the other competitors or just like the public or your marketing leads in general.
You know, I think I'm lucky in the sense that I am native Hawaiian, and so
that's a strength, right? It's in Hawaii, right? In Hawaii,
I think it's a strength everywhere. Like when I travel, I never say I'm from the U.S. I'm from Hawaii.
Right? Well, what we say, like, I mean, like, depends on like people who don't like Hawaiians. Like, you know, I mean, I'm just saying, like,
it's okay, but you know, I'm not gonna shy away from it, right?
But in Hawaii, specifically, that's a huge strength, I think. Because
and so they know when I speak about the land, and I can, you know, and I grew up living, you know, like fishing and hunting and doing all those stuff with my cousins and uncles and teaching me how to do all that, right? learning how to read the weather by reading the weather, not what Guy
Not
Hagi says. Right? So you get to that point. So when I speak about being Native Hawaiian, right? Yeah. There's a level of authenticity coming. When I talk about being local and grazing and the things that are important, right? It's hard for someone to like, nah, bro, you full of it, brother. I don't think you for real. Like, bro, come on, right? So, and then like right now we're speaking pretty good English, right?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean,
but
the pigeon comes out when it needs to.
Yeah, but I have no problems going into Waianae, Nanakuli, Maili, and speaking to my fellow Hawaiians out there. No problem with that. I grew up in Kamaki, not the nicer side of Kamaki, but yeah. So again, I think at the end of the day, right, what people want to see, right, is, are these guys who are talking about this really authentic? Yeah. Or this is a quick way, are they greenwashing it or whatever they're doing to make a buck? And I think one of the things that we pride ourselves on is we are who we are. Yeah. We're very authentic.
I feel like there's a big thing about you is there's a big authenticity about like all like your decision making, your process, and the way you see the world. It's not just, you're not just doing it, like you said, just for the money. Yeah. But there's a deeper like cause and a care for either your team or for like the products or for like the consumers, even the buyers, at the same time.
I mean, look, the one thing I know is going to happen, we're all going to die.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. I don't know much, but that's the one thing I do know, right? How do we die and what do we live? And I mean, how do we live and what do we leave behind? Matters to me. I mean, and again, I'm not saying if it doesn't matter to you, you're a bad person. It doesn't matter. You live you, I'll do me, right? And those things matter to me, and am I looking for a legacy? Some people are like, oh, it's your legacy. Like, no. I just want the people who I care about to remember me the way I want to be remembered. And I think that's a fair thing to do, but the actions that are required to do that are not so easy to accomplish, right? So I try my best, and I don't always succeed, but I try my best in that authenticity side. And I think anyone who knows me will tell you that like I'm pretty authentic. And I'll tell people where to go if I don't believe it, right? And I'm never afraid. Like, you've known me for a while. I'm never afraid to speak up on what I believe. And it's not, and I don't do it to try to change people's mind. I do it because it's what I believe. You just
genuinely believe, right?
Yeah, if I have nothing to say, I don't say anything. Right. But if I believe,
I don't know about that, but
I'll talk shit all the time. We're joking around, right? And then you get a few drinks in us, and then that's a whole nother game, right?
That's another podcast.
Yeah, that's another podcast. Nothing to do with business. I mean, maybe it does have to do with business, right? But I just try to be very authentic to who I am and what I believe and what my values are in life.
One of the first things like I remember like vividly is when we met at a EO networking event, and and you told me like like when I was just joining, I had like these big dreams and aspirations to take it to like $100 million. But then you actually had mentors like basically talk you out of it, and you actually say like, let's grow less or get smaller. Yeah. Can you tell me about that?
So I think as a business person, any business person, right? You're always thinking bigger is better. Right? Like, higher number. And no one's ever said no. Think about it. Has anyone told you no? Like, you shouldn't grow. Like, you should just stop. Like, you should be happy with what you have. Yeah. Right. No one's ever. I mean, I don't remember anyone ever telling me that. It's like, oh yeah, I remember my account's like, oh, you get a good year. You're up 25% or you're up 30% from last year, right? Whatever it is, and all your friends are like, oh, right. It's like And when I got in EO, I'm like, okay, these guys. There's a couple guys in here that exited their company. They sold their company for X, right? And they built it to a certain size. And I was like, okay, I was like at 9 mil at that point. And I'm like, I want to get to 50. If I get to 50, right? And then talking to some of these guys, they're like, oh man, when I grew from, when I grew from this to that amount, right? It was like, oh my God, like I didn't sleep. And then the more I started talking to them, I'm like, why the fuck would I want to do that? Dude, like, wait, so I'm going to be super in debt, which I have no debt now. So I'm going to take up huge debt to grow this business, right? I sleep really good now, so I'm not going to sleep really good, right? I'm not really stressed now, so I'm going to really stress. I'm like, outside of an ego pump, I don't see where this is a benefit. So it really forced me to kind of like check myself, like, okay, are you doing this because you want to do it? because this is what you want, or are you thinking that's what everybody's going to evaluate you by you getting bigger and everybody get a pat on your back? Like, and at that point it was super easy for me because I don't need a pat on the back for anybody, right? So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna actually get smaller. So we actually like fired some companies to get smaller, so we became even more efficient.
So more efficient, less stress.
And
then maybe a higher percentage margin, but then like lower percentage overall. I mean, lower,
so our net margins, our operating margins, increased,
higher,
right? Because the stuff that we got rid of were all low margin
items. But the growth went down.
The growth went down, right?
But less stress, like everything is like a lot smoother and
correct. Yeah. Right. So we basically in one fell swoop we shed like $3-4 million. Boom. Right, and we said,
was that scary, or how were you feeling during that time?
I think the decision wasn't scary. The execution and how, right, and just to let everybody know, I mean, it's fine now. We did all the Mars pet care, so like pedigree and all that other stuff like that. So we're the distributors for Hawaii. So I said at one point we're the largest in the state of Hawaii, right? So we basically fired Mars Pet Care. And that was like $3-4 million a year. But the margins that we were making, and they kind of get you on a hook, right? It's like a drug addiction, right? Mars, they get you, and then your revenues keep going, and the cash flow keeps going, and you just kind of keep riding that wave, right? So when we decided to fire them, they're like, wait a minute, what? Like, no one's ever fired us. Like, yeah, well, first time for everything. And the scary part was, like, how were they, obviously Mars Pet Care is huge. They're the largest privately held company in the world.
Wow, I did not know that. That's crazy.
And so it's kind of like, they could just screw us and tie us in litigation forever. We had a contract, but contracts are. When you're that big, contracts are reference only, right? It's like a reference. It doesn't really mean anything. It's like, we have a contract for reference, but we don't really abide by it.
Let's touch on that. I think a lot of times in business or in life, we think like once you sign a contract, that's gonna save me.
No.
But the reality of it is, the enforcement of the contract is a whole different animal. And in addition to enforcement is interpretation, and the litigation that would go around it is like a bigger animal than the actual like signed piece of paper itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, I mean, contracts, like I said, contracts are a reference.
Yeah.
It's like just a reference. Like before, so I was like, oh, we have a contract.
Yeah.
But when something hits the wall, it doesn't mean anything. It literally doesn't mean anything. Right. So we just try to make sure we execute. And I mean, I think Mars corporate was not happy.
Okay.
But the guys that we dealt with
you had a good relationship and stuff with them.
Yeah, the guys that we dealt with on a day-to-day basis, we had a really good relationship, and they realized this is. Not
they understood.
They understood why we did it. So we had long conversations on why we did it, and they understood.
Well, this goes along the lines of like how relational businesses. I think whether you're trying to get new clients or you're trying to like let go of clients, it's such a relational game.
Absolutely.
And I feel like you're really good on the relational aspect of things. Is this like a skill you've always had? Is this something that you worked at? Like, what is it like about that you're able to to communicate really well with people?
I come back to what we talked about earlier, right? I think when people meet me, like me or hate me, at least they know I'm authentic. And there's something about, even if you don't like someone, if you know they're genuine, it's still okay.
Yeah.
Where if you like someone, but you're always wearing like, is that guy for real? Or he's kind of fishy, right? It makes you more skeptical, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's like you always kind of you always try to keep yourself at a distance, And I think for me, I just always, for a long time, I've always been that way. And don't get me wrong, we all go through phases growing up and trying to think that, okay, what does other people expect, the expectation of others, and what do you think you want me to be? And obviously, like, my mom wanted me to be completely different than what I am, right? Like, not the business side, but the personality side, right? She wanted me to be a good Asian boy, listen, don't talk back, and I was like that, and I was like that. Yeah, sorry, wrong child. You should have had another one after me, so that wouldn't happen, right? So I think that it's easy, and then I think for me, I know no one believes this, but I'm not an outgoing person.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
Yeah. But think about this, right? When we're around together and we're around with our other EO guys, I've known these guys for 10 years, for a lot of these guys, right? There's a level of comfort there, right? And these guys, a lot of them have been in my form in one form or another, right? Been with me through some rough times in one aspect or another. Yeah. So there's a level of trust that I have with them, and there's a level of trust that they have with me. Yeah. So you can open up. But I mean, I don't go out. I don't
really.
I'm not like a social butterfly. I don't go out. I love watching sports. and I either go to a live football game or live basketball game, and then the rest of the time I just hang out and stay at home. Like I'm not an outgoing person by nature. When I'm out with friends, and that's the part that nobody believes, is because when I'm out with you guys, I'm very chatty and funny and joking and always cracking up and always saying all kinds of crazy stuff and doing crazy stuff. But for me, that's within the comfort walls, right? By nature, I just kind of don't get outside of that often. Right, like I don't go looking for like. I'm
not sure if I believe you. I have to see this other side of Dave, but we'll take your word for it.
Well, you can ask other guys. Like I don't go out. I don't do stuff. You know, I kind of just like more of a homebody, which is crazy. But I'm like, why doesn't no one believe this? Right. But the other side is at work, when I have to be outgoing and personable and talking to people.
It's a learned skill.
It's a learned skill. That's my job, right? It's like, you know, if I was a plumber, I had to learn how to fix pipes, right? And
this is such an interesting point, because this exact same thing happened to me. So like by nature, I'm an introvert, you know, but then I just started posting on social media, and so you get every comfort zone there. Start to speak on some stages,
and it's to see people think you're outgoing.
Yeah,
right?
And they think like, oh, you're. I'm like, I hate being on stage. I hate talking in public people, but like you just have to do it so many times. It's a learned skill, and even networking is like a learned skill.
Absolutely,
I think it's like
absolutely. I agree with you.
When I first started, I'm like in the back. I'm like, I just don't want to talk to anybody. Right, you're in the back, but like you have to force yourself. Yeah. You face your fears over and over and over again until it becomes natural. Yeah. Because you get better at it, but it doesn't start like that. But it's such like business, you have to be able to connect and communicate with people to succeed
on multiple levels, right? And you have to, you know, all there are multiple levels of where, and you have to always meet them where they are. So I've always spent my time trying to perfect that. Being able to talk to people where they are, not where I am, right?
Can you break that down? Explain that to me.
Okay, perfect example, right? Kahala, Waianae.
Okay.
If I talk to the guy in Kahala, like how I talk to the guy in Waianae, not going anywhere.
I got
and vice versa.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So and again, and it's not a knock on who's smarter, who's not, right? It has nothing to do with it. Yeah. But you got to meet them where they are.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's, you know, if you want to be authentic, to me, that's authentic, me being authentic, because, right? I can speak Pidgin just as well as I can speak English. Well, maybe
they're both versions of Dave, right? It's like they're both
part of me. Yeah. They're still within me, right? So people are like, oh, you're faking here or you're faking there. No. It's still me, right? Like my Pidgin is legit. Right, my English is.
Let's hear it. You
can't
just pull it out. Like
it has to be back and forth. Back and forth. Right? Like, you can't just say
whenever
Pidgin.
someone like says try to speak Pidgin, like you do it by yourself, it sounds so weird. Like,
see, that sounds fake, right? But in a natural conversation, it just comes out, right? And so that's what I mean. But you got to meet people where they are, right?
Yeah.
If I'm in, where was I? Oh, something recently where I was someplace and I was like talking about something, and then the guys who were with me like, dude, we didn't even know you knew anything about that. I just don't remember anything, because you know it's one of those things where it's not important. It's important when it happened, but after that, it's kind of like next, right? Like what's next? Like you don't remember it. But yeah, so you know, and I think for me, I've done so many things in my life that I can be in any situation and pretty much talk somewhat.
Because your life experience and stuff, right? You've experienced a lot of life.
Exactly, and so you can talk pretty well intelligently about just about anything that's happened, right? And you know, I've been lucky. I've traveled pretty much around the whole world, right? I'm missing one continent. Right, Antarctica, so it's the only one left on my bucket list. But I've been to every other continent.
That's one thing I've noticed too about you is like usually like a lot of business owners I talk to, like they're so stuck with business they never get to live life.
Yeah. Well, I've been there. Don't get me wrong. For a long time, I've been like that, right?
But you solve some kind of puzzle where you're always traveling, you're visiting a lot of different places, and like you don't seem like very stressed. I feel like you've got I'm
hiding it well. No.
It's what maybe you are, but like I'm just like you've unlocked some kind of key where like you're living as a business owner, but then doing it very successfully. And there's very few guys I see that do this really well.
So I used to travel a lot for work, and I would get in and get out, right? And so I travel the world for work, and then but I would never, like literally outside of my hotel in the factory, I would know nothing about the city. And about 7-8 years ago, before COVID, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna spend an extra day or two wherever I am, and
just
learn
leverage and piggyback on your work,
and just learn the culture of wherever I'm at. And, you know, and that could expand my horizons, and just, you know, makes at least makes the trip interesting. Right, and fun. And then once I started doing that, I started realizing, oh, this is actually pretty cool. right? You know.
So your business is serving you as opposed to you serving your business, right?
Correct.
So,
And I'll be coming in and you know, even in Mumbai, right? Like, you know, which is not my favorite city, but I found things in Mumbai that are actually pretty cool to go see and hang out, right? Same with Delhi, you know, same with parts of Vietnam and things like that. So over the years, you just kind of expand out, right? Everywhere, you know, you go to a city multiple times and okay, I've done that last time. Let me try this one, this time, the next one, right? And, you know, and then I think the other thing for me now is like, what, you know, I said earlier, right? I'm the luckiest SOB alive, right? Like, what else could I want? Like, you know, my backstory is real simple, right? My dad died when I was 8 years old. My mom doesn't speak, barely couldn't read or write English and barely spoke English. She's from Taiwan, right? We grew up in a Section 8 housing, right? So at one of the EO events we had a couple years ago, and on the board it was, what would your 10-year-old self tell you today? And my answer was like, fuck if I know. Because there's no way my 10-year-old self could see me here today. It's impossible. There was nobody in my sphere of knowledge, influence on TV, nothing to believe, right?
Yeah.
But incrementally along the way, every time I moved to another threshold, right, I saw something else that led me to another threshold that let me see something else. And that's how I got to here. So looking back, I'm so blessed. So what is there to be mad about?
Like tiny baby steps to get to where you are. But at the same time, like you're after those million steps, you're so far away from where you first started that you don't even recognize yourself.
Exactly. So I was like, there's no way. How do I even see, right? There's no way. You don't even have that in the, it's like, might as well go to the moon, right? Where you're going to own your own house. You have multiple cars, multiple homes. Going to the moon was just as possible, right? You just don't see it. But when you start taking steps, like you said, a million baby steps, and at every one you evaluate, go left to right, and see what the next step is going to be and where you want to be, you know. So having said that, I'm at the place right now. It's like, if I grew my business tenfold, would my life change that much? Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, so you're already living your best life.
Yeah.
Right? So you have enough to do everything that you want to do.
I'm not going to go hungry anytime soon. Yeah. And I eat a lot.
We know that. So we know, Dave's the eater.
Right. But so it's like, then what is there to be mad about?
Yeah.
What is there to be sad about? Right? Yes. There are sad things that happen. There are things that are going to happen, but those should be transactions. Yeah. Right? Like what's next, right? It happens, clear it, fix it. What's next? Move on. But there shouldn't be anything that should make you like permanently sad. And again, I'm not discounting people who have like depression problems and diagnoses. I'm not saying that, right? But for me,
there's no reason why.
There's nothing that I
feel the exact same way. I feel lucky. I feel like so lucky every single day. Yeah, this is like.
I mean, we talk about this in form. Like, I don't know.
My life is good. Yeah, I got tons of problems, but my life is good. Like, you know, that's how it is. And
but all those problems, they can be managed. Right.
Yeah.
They're all transactions. If I do this. This one goes away. If I do that, that one goes away. If I do this, that one goes away, right?
Yeah.
Right? So the tariffs kicking my butt, right? I raise my prices, that problem goes away, right? If I raise my prices too high, then something in the marketplace affects me, somebody else. But then I can fix it and make an adjustment, bring my price down, then that one goes away. So if I look at all my issues and problems as transactions, then none of them are the end of the world, right? So he's just, once again,
that's a super, I feel like, wise and experienced like point of view of life. But I mean, there's a lot of guys up there. They're starting up and coming. They've had some challenges. They never kind of reached like a business success. Like they're a newer entrepreneur or like they haven't had a whole lot of success. What's one piece of advice you would give to like a newer entrepreneur or small business owner?
It's the easiest one. It's the one that I followed. Somebody told me this early on, right? Put your ego. Those 3 letters will kill everything you have. E, G, and O, right? Okay. Those 3 letters will kill everything. Put those 3 letters aside. Be humble and ask and ask and ask. And be sincere about it, right? So when I had mentors and I asked them for help, right? I bought their lunches. And these guys were obviously way more successful than me. And if I mention their names, which I won't, but everybody probably knows who they are around town, right? I took them to lunch because their time was valuable, right? Every time they gave me a task, I finished the task within 24 hours and gave it back to them, right? Because their time is so valuable, right? I was the one getting something. So I would ask, be sincere about it, and then not flake on them, so to speak, right? And get back to them what they asked, so that next time I ask another question, right, they're more willing to help.
Yeah.
So be authentic in that aspect, but ask. Don't make like you know all the answers, because you don't. I don't. At this point, I have my own company for 30 plus, almost 30 years in one aspect or another, right? I still ask tons of questions from people. Yeah. I still call up people like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Or, you know, like, hey, what do you think about this? And it's not necessarily looking for an answer.
Yeah. You're processing it together, right?
Well, yeah.
Seeing how they process it. So
what about a point of view that I may not have, right? Do I have a blind spot that somebody else can patch, right? Yeah. So again, just constantly be willing to learn and don't be afraid to ask. But when you do, be authentic and be respectful of people's time and energy, right? And if they ask you for something,
do it.
Yeah, that becomes your priority.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you value this person's input and he asks you or she asks you to do something, that should be your number one priority. Because if this person is giving you knowledge and asking for, you know, a give and take, that means they're engaged. And at that point, there is nothing more important than the person who's your mentor engaging with you on that level.
That's a really good point.
Right? Yeah. So whatever you got to do, pay your taxes and do this other shit, fucking put that shit aside for now. Do this.
That's a really, really good point.
Right? Because then that respect starts going in a two-way street. Right? And next time you ask, they're more likely to help.
That's a really, really good point.
Yeah. So everything else in the back burner. So every time they've given me something on that stuff, it's like, boom, I spend the whole night doing it. And next morning, boom, here it is.
I think that's one of the things, like, I think as a mentor or coach or somebody who's like looking up somebody young, when you give advice and then they don't take it seriously, you don't do it right away, you're less likely to want to engage again. But if they do it right away, they finish it. Okay, now that you see that they're gonna put in the work, now you're more inclined to invest more into this relationship with this person.
It's a two-way street, right? Yeah. So I've been mentored and I've mentored, and again, that's why I know, because some of the people I've mentored in the past, I'm not mentoring them anymore. Right? So when we meet, I'm paying for lunch. Yeah. Right. Again, there's that common sense that somebody else's time is the one thing. I always tell people this: time is the one thing I cannot make. Yeah. I can make more money. I can make a table. I can go buy furniture. Everything else I can make. I can't make time. So if I give you an hour of my time, there's no way ever I'm getting that back.
Yeah. You can't repay that, right?
And if I feel like you're wasting my time, that's like the worst thing you could do. You could waste my money, but don't waste my time.
That's such a good business owner perspective. That's so good.
Because I could use that 1 hour to go do something else that's way more productive. Yeah. And I'm 100%. Giving it to you.
Yeah. So thank you, by the way, for the time here today. Like, super, super appreciate it. I mean,
of course, Dan.
You might not realize it, but you've kind of been like a little mini mentor. Like the way I see, like you're far ahead in business than compared to us in our company. And so
you guys are doing amazing things.
A lot of the decisions you're making, your thought process and things, especially in Forum. Like I kind of looking to see what you're doing, and I learn a lot from you. So
thank you.
Super appreciate your time, your friendship today, and coming on the show, bro. I appreciate you.
Anytime you need help, then I'm always here. Like, you know, a lot of people, like I said earlier, a lot of people help me get here, and if I can do something to help anybody else, it's my way to play it forward and give back.
Well, if people want to reach out to you or
I have no social media,
which is crazy, by the way, but which is a good thing. Stay away. It's terrible. So.
I just can't go down that rabbit hole. I just never have. It's just not my thing. Again, I come back to you when I say I'm a natural introvert. Like I don't like, you know. So if you want to get a hold of me, just email Malama Iko or look us up line. And you know, if I can help out in any way to give back, again, a lot of people have helped me get here. If I can help out in any way with anyone, I'm more than happy to do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming again.
Thanks, bud.